All right, we are live. Good morning and welcome to On the Spot 947, where we sit down, we have a little tete a tete with some of the biggest and talented names in the arts, and equally those who are in their or on their artistic journey in the hopes of influencing and changing the world. Happy New Year! This is our first episode for the year, and I am stoked. I am excited. For today, we are joined by a singer songwriter who has traveled everywhere or more of the places that I would want to go in the future when circumstances permit. But in spite of moving around and living life like a gypsy, our guest has felt that music is the one constant that she can always count on. And let's see how many more points we can both agree on today. Let's all welcome Miss Salli Edwards to the show. Good morning. Yay, Sally's here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Well, I was saying earlier, it's afternoon here now in Melbourne.
Right, right. So
Yeah.
yeah, good morning from us, but good afternoon to you. And
Thank you.
welcome to On the Spot 947. So glad that you can join us today, Sally. And we are starting fresh, and it's always great to do something new, or in our case, speak to someone new at the beginning of the year. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Do you believe in New Year resolutions? And if it's and is it okay if you do not follow them by the end of the year?
I love that question. I'm a bit of a planner, so I like to have things to look forward to. So I guess New Year's resolutions are a part of that. Yeah, I think it's good to have goals. So maybe not so much resolutions in terms of things like, I'm going to lose weight or get a
Yeah,
new job or whatever. But maybe it's just good to have goals and things to look forward to in the new year. Yeah, yeah. Like a chance to kind of reset and kind of reflect on where you are in life and maybe having to change or try new or different things.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And we always hear that with some people. It's like, resolution? What is that? I'm not even going to do it by the end of the year. So I even make one at the start of the year.
Yeah, exactly. You're just kind of setting yourself up for failure, I think. So maybe this
Yeah,
that it's not a resolution because if you don't stick with it, then you feel like you failed. But maybe it's
exactly,
just having
exactly. Yeah. I
ethics.
mean,
Yeah.
as we get older year by year, we just feel that all we can do at the moment is go with the flow. And regardless of where that flow takes us, it's the attitude of how you look at that flow that will
Absolutely.
determine how your year plans out. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
totally.
as I said, I guess it's okay too if you don't follow that specific resolution. If there's anything that this pandemic has taught us, then that is how to be kind with a capital K, how to be kind to ourselves. And some people were super productive, and others just took their time and basked in the lockdown because it's such a change of pace for a lot of people. From one end, those who've gotten accustomed to doing so many things on their plate, to almost do nothing, and likewise, if not anything that they wanted. And I'm just curious about your own lockdown experience.
Yeah, so we went into lockdown in March, kind of
Mhm.
like the rest of the world last year. I can't believe that's almost a year ago. It's gone pretty quickly when you think about it. And yeah, it was really hard. I also have a full-time job, so we were all working from home all of a sudden. So we had to go from meeting in the office, seeing each other face to face, to suddenly working at our desks in our homes and not seeing each other. So
Mhm.
that was a really tough time to start, and with all the uncertainty about what was happening with the pandemic, people still didn't really understand this virus completely. There was a lot of transmissions everywhere, a lot of confusion. So
Until some
yeah,
people still don't.
so in all of that, and I remember it was around March or April, and I was sitting in this very room, and I was feeling so much, I guess, about all the uncertainty in the world, and how my life had suddenly been, transformed by this situation. And I just found myself picking up my guitar, and I was just strumming, and this song literally just kind of just came out, in like 20 minutes flat, and it's my song called Traces, which was
Mhm.
actually the first single from my album. And so that song is kind of, in a way, maybe encapsulates how I was feeling about the lockdown pandemic. It talks about not having your usual freedom. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, I'm playing in the background right now.
yeah, thank you, thank you. So I guess, yeah, everybody has their own unique experience about lockdown. You know, like everyone's experience of it is unique. But I guess that was my own way of expressing how I was feeling about it. Yeah.
Right, right. And he also said that it's because of the lockdown that you decided and finished the album that listeners now get to listen online. If we could take you back in time for about a few moments, you actually started as a journalist, right?
I did,
And
yeah.
I feel that this was a great training ground for you because as a journalist, you need to open your ears and your eyes to the world around you and experience the things that happen to other people as if those life experiences were your own. Can you tell us something about that time in your life?
Wow, Kaz, you described that beautifully. Can I tell you?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. I did start off as a journalist, so I've always loved to write, even since I was a child. You know, I
Hmm.
was always writing. I was always scribbling words. You know, I had my little journal and my little notebook, and I was always writing stuff in it. I started writing short stories even as a child. You know, and which is what made me kind of choose journalism as my career. And so I did that for a little bit. In San Francisco, only for a very short time, actually, it turned out. And then, it was also in San Francisco that I was playing in a couple of bands. And so going back a few steps as well, you know, being Filipino, music is very much part of our DNA, right?
Yeah, that's
Maybe
right.
who don't love music. And so as a child, I loved writing and I also loved music. We always had music playing in the house.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was something that we did together as a family, listen to music. So as you said earlier on, even though we moved around quite a lot, the music was the one constant thing in my life. And I listened to all kinds of music, really. Like, you know, I was always very open to trying out, you know, new genres and things like that. So it was in San Francisco, and I was singing in a band. We were doing mostly covers at the time,
Hmm.
and then I guess somehow my love for music and my love for writing just kind of converged. It kind of became the next natural progression, you know, and I started just writing songs and performing them with the band, and it kind of grew from there. And I also enjoyed the collaboration aspect because I was writing songs on my own, but there was also the fun part of writing songs with a band.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was really cool. So I guess that's kind of what started my whole kind of songwriting journey. But it wasn't until last year that I even started to record an album. So there was a huge gap, you know, of time in between those two things.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, first and foremost, are in order for
Thank
finishing the album. Sadly, some people who start something don't get to finish it, but it's great that you did get to finish it. So that's a pat on the back for you.
you. There you go. I'll give myself a pat.
Yeah. or,
Thank
or,
you.
or two pats on the back. So
Thanks,
yeah.
Kat.
You said that growing up you were listening to music. Music has always been a constant as well in your own home, and that's what we usually do as Filipinos. And especially during the weekends, our parents would listen to the oldies but the goodies. I was wondering what kind of musical influences your parents had on you, and did they kind of like in a way plant the seeds for you with regards to your appreciation and current love for music?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, my parents, my older brother and sister, you know, my friends, people around me. I'd like to think that everybody I meet and everybody in my life has influenced me in some way. So yeah, music. You know, the oldies are always the best. Usually, you know, around the house we listen to things like Burt Bacharach. He's always a huge influence on me.
Oh
Still
yeah, yeah.
today.
Still
Um,
is, still is.
and even stuff like my parents would listen to Jack Jones, Engelbert Humperdinck.
Oh God, that's my mom's favorite, Engelbert Humperdinck. Him and Johnny Mathis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love Johnny Mathis.
those two. And my mom would also listen to Mario Lanza. You
Yeah,
can hear classical music blaring, throughout the entire house. Uh,
yeah.
with that. You mentioned Burt Bacharach. I'm sure you're familiar with Swing Out Sister,
Yes.
Corinne Brewery, and
Yeah.
Burt Bacharach has always been is also one of the major influences with the band. And you do have a song that's a little bit Bacharach-esque.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed listening, and that was it's not Falling Deep into the Sea. It's the other.
So the one,
Uh,
How Was I Supposed to Know?
How Was I Supposed to Know? Yes, that definitely was very Bacharach esque. And if I may be so bold to suggest a song by Swing Out Sister that stood out for me, that sounded really Bacharach. Are you familiar with the album Shapes and Patterns?
I love that album.
I love that album too. The song Here and Now,
Yes.
that screamed
Yes.
as Bacharach for me. So the first
Yeah.
time I got to hear that, I was like, oh my goodness, the chords, the transition, it was brilliant. I just listened to that one song the entire day the first time I got the album.
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about it. I love that album. I still listen to that album constantly. I mean, Swing Out Sister, they're among my influences as well. Yeah, because you can totally hear the Bacharach influence there, and a lot of the '60s pop.
Exactly. Yeah, the '60s pop. And
I love that.
That's one thing that the kids these days should be getting their hands on, listening as well.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Music now as music then is definitely not the same, but the process in getting your vision across musically will still be the same. I don't think that's ever going to change, as well as the debate over which one is more important, be it music or the lyrics. I was wondering about you when you do write, Sally, which one comes first for you?
I get asked that question a lot. It's funny because I don't know if there's a set formula, to be honest, and maybe it's whatever works for whatever songwriter. Everyone's different, but for me, it's it really depends on the song. Like with this, which I described earlier, the words and the music kind of came together. They clicked. How Was I Supposed to Know was the same. That song was written, came out in 15 minutes. I wish all songs were that easy to write.
Yeah, exactly. It's like as easy as just brushing your teeth in the morning. I'm playing Revolving Doors in the background. So yeah.
Thank you. That's actually Revolving Doors would be an example of the song I'm actually almost refused to write.
I like the message of that. You said that the world is like one big revolving door, and it speaks so much about the human experience. That one day you will meet this person who will be instrumental, let's say, in your life choice and in your career, and sometimes you also meet people who will test you, to put it mildly, test you along the way, and to just kind of rub you the wrong way, and also prod yourself to ask yourself as well, is this really what I wanted? So with that question, being in music and taking the journalist part out, is being music really the one thing that you wanted when you were growing up?
Probably not exactly, because I was very, maybe as a child I was practical, but maybe I couldn't really make a living out of music unless I was someone super successful and super famous. I knew that music would play a pretty big role in my life in some way. But I didn't grow up thinking, okay, one day I'm going to release an album, write songs. So, I guess it wasn't really, I hadn't really thought of it that way when I was young. But you're right about people coming in and out of our lives, again, you said that so beautifully, Kaz, because that's what Revolving Doors is all about. That's what the album is about. It's a lot of the songs in it are about, people kind of coming in and out of your life, and they come into your life for a reason.
Right. And whether these people they end up people you like or people you hate, that's another story entirely.
That's exactly right. But even the people you don't like might have had a purpose in your life. Maybe they came into your life to teach you something about yourself. And sometimes people come into your life and then they exit your life because their purpose in your life is done.
True.
That's what Revolving Doors is about.
Have you written about? That's the nice thing about being a writer as well. Whether it's you're writing a novel or you're a songwriter, you get to write about almost anything. And some people can focus on things that make them happy, that everything is hunky dory and peachy keen. But there will also be some experiences, painful experiences, or irritable experiences, and people that you can incorporate into a song. Have you written something like that about things that you didn't like or people who didn't exactly, you see eye to eye with, and incorporated them into your music?
Yeah, that's the beauty of songwriting. It's a real cathartic release, isn't it? Like some
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
songs are the breakup songs, the angry songs, like it just kind of, channels so much emotion. But yeah, the second single from the album, which is the first track on it, Falling Deep into the Sea, I guess describes that. I mean, that was, I wrote that. It was, it was an amalgamation of situations.
Mhm.
It's not always 100% autobiographical, of course, but that one was really, kind of expressing how you might feel after a major disappointment in life.
Right, right.
You
Falling,
work
falling
so
into the
hard.
sea.
Yeah, so it's about aiming really high, having these dreams. Because people tell you when you dream, you aim high, right? But then
Hmm.
somehow it doesn't work out, and then suddenly you feel like you're falling deep into the sea. Just that feeling of disappointment. Yeah.
But oddly, when I first heard the song, it sounded like a song that I can play full blast and with the top down. That's assuming I have a car that does that. I can always dream, can't I? Uh, and just let the wind, you know, uh, play on my face, and just hear the music blaring from the speakers. That's the kind of vibe that I got
Mm.
from that particular track. What does it mean to you when people come to you and say that, because of your music or because of the lyric that you have in a song, I was able to get over something, or or I was able to get out of a bad marriage, and I felt that I could love again because of your music. What does that say to you, or how do you feel about that when people come to you with that kind of reaction?
Yeah, I think for songwriters, that's the ultimate gift.
Hmm.
When people come to you and say, I love this song, this song of yours called blah 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 because the lyrics really resonated with me. Um, I think, yeah, as a songwriter, that's like the biggest honor, and that's pretty
Hmm.
much why we write songs. I think it's because we
Right.
want to um, express ourselves, but we also want it to be relatable to other people. We want it to kind of provide some catharsis, just like I have with other people's music, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, that totally means a lot. I think that for me is the biggest gift and the biggest reward. Yeah, for
I
inviting us.
love that you use the word gift to it. No one I've talked to so far has said that that was a gift, and it's nice that you put it that way. And the thing about with gifts is whether you're the one who's giving it, and you're the one, but more so for the one who's receiving it. You just accept it for what it is. You don't scrutinize it to see if the gift is big enough or small enough. You just appreciate the gift for what it is, and that is the biggest compliment, yes, that any artist or songwriter can ever get. Whenever people say that your material has changed the way that I look at things, it has changed, I guess, my process artistically, and nothing, no awards, no matter how many, will, I
Mm,
guess, be able to compare
yeah,
to that kind of compliment.
it is the ultimate compliment, and even just people actually listening to it. I think that in itself is also a gift. A gift of actually setting aside time to listen to the song. I think as a songwriter and a musician, I really appreciate
Right.
that.
Do you feel that the listening experience of people with regards to music has changed as well over the years? Like, you know, gone are the days wherein people will really sit down and listen to a particular lyric, or people will just give a minute or so into the song and not listen to the entire song,
Mm,
just quickly judge and say that I don't like it,
yes,
but you haven't
absolutely.
finished the song. Yeah.
You're right. I think we all have ADHD now, or ADD music. We don't really. Well, a couple of things about that actually. That's a great question. One is that when I was putting together this album, I put a lot of thought and effort into the order of the songs.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was obsessing with it, because at the end of the day, people don't listen in order anymore, especially if you're listening on Spotify or whatever streaming platform you use. Most people just do shuffle or random. So I felt like all that work I had put into planning the order of the songs was totally irrelevant. And then secondly, like myself, when I was listening to music when I was young and consuming all types of music, I really loved having the product in my hand, whether it's a CD or a record or a cassette. You look at the graphics and the artwork, and you
Right.
the lyrics, because normally the lyrics come with the product. You read the liner notes. You want to know who played the guitar.
Yes, me too. I hate it when I buy an artist's CD and they don't have lyrics in them. It's like,
that's right.
you're supposed to read at the same time listen to what it is that you have to say musically. It's just like buying one big hardbound book with one page missing. It feels something like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, dang it, and then they'll have this marketing chore or marketing trick that they will ask you as the listener to write to them to ask for the lyric. So it's like,
yes.
What is that? I know that trick. You're trying to get my email, right? You're gonna put me in your mailing list, right?
That's right. Thankfully now we have Google as well. You can just Google lyrics, and 99% of the time the lyrics are out there. I don't know how that happens. So yeah, I think the way we listen and consume music is so different now, and I kind of miss the good old days. I mean, at least vinyl's making a comeback.
But vinyl is expensive as well. It's not.
That's true.
Not like before when. How much does vinyl cost at one point? At one point, and this is gonna carbon date. A one time, vinyl just costs around 26 pesos. That's how cheap it was back in the day. It's like now it's like one vinyl is like what, 3,000 pesos now. So it's like, yikes. I would love for CDs to be back. If vinyl can continue on, having a market and a life of their own, but I would love if more artists can continually release CDs and not just consume everything online.
Yes.
These days, you have to be, an established and well promoted artist to have a CD online, or unless you have a big bank account and you want to release that independently. Yes, you can do that. But a great deal of marketing.
Absolutely, and most artists have to rely on streams. So you'll have a million streams just to get some money out of it. Whereas before, if you got, when people are buying a CD or a record, the artist sees a lot more of that back.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess that also goes without saying that the more streams that you have, then you have a bigger clout, you can say, and saying that, I have this much streams and my streams will translate to that much of people following me or listening to me. In this day and age of social media, do you feel that how important is it for you for streams and followings and likes as well on our own respective social platforms? Do you feel that still, in a way, there's a little bit of validation when it comes to social media?
Absolutely. I mean, all artists, it's an expectation that you have a social media presence, Facebook, Instagram, or have a website or whatever, SoundCloud. And so I think, as an artist, you need to be open to, being on all of these platforms. I have to confess that musically, I'm not that active yet. I should be, but I do have my own website, which I've put up, which has my music and photos and lyrics on there as well, which people
lyrics.
I think broadly speaking, as an artist, you have to play in that universe, so to speak.
Right, within
You might
that
not do that.
thing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
If there's any artist in the world that you would love to collaborate with or just sing with, even if you don't get to write a song with them, who would those be? Let's say maybe top five.
Oh my God, put me on this as such a hard question. It's like so many people. Like, yeah, I mean, Burt Bacharach, he's still alive, but I know he's getting up there now. And I had the privilege of seeing him live a few times. I would love.
Awesome. Oh wait, I assume that you have the Burt Bacharach and Elvis Costello album.
Yes,
Yeah. Oh,
and then the movie, you saw the movie Grace of My Heart,
yeah.
where they wrote the soundtrack. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Yeah, I would love to do stuff with Burt Bacharach. Lately, I've been listening to a band called The Wild Nothing.
Mhm.
So they do kind of shoegaze, rock, pop, indie alternative stuff. I'd love to,
Are
just.
they Australian?
I think they're American. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'd love to do a duet with Stephen Nicks.
T-Mix.
Absolutely awesome. But my biggest influence to this day is actually Amy Mann. If you remember her from Till Tuesday, and then
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
80s, yeah,
Yes.
she went on to have a very successful solo career, and she would actually be my biggest influence. And she's also been influenced by the people I've been influenced,
Right,
like
right.
Bacharach. So I would love to collaborate with her, or maybe have her as a mentor or something. I think that would just be really, really awesome. And it's great to kind of collaborate with people who have different kind of style of music as you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe do a song that's kind of more hip hop or or more rock, heavy rock oriented. I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head, but yeah, I think that's
Right,
the
right.
people.
Because it definitely ups your game when you get to collaborate with someone of a different genre, and just because let's say let's say if your music is country or pop, folk or acoustic, it doesn't mean that you can't collaborate with someone who does hip hop or an R&B. So it will be an interesting mix, that's for sure. And yeah, and it also disciplines you, I guess, and teaches you to dig a little bit deeper into what it is that you can put on the table. One of my sadly, I would love to have more Australian artists in the mainstream market. My top favorite Australian, apart from Olivia Newton-John, of course, is Tina Arena.
Yeah,
I love her to death. I was like, I would kill to go watch a
yeah.
Tina Arena concert, but sadly, she's not doing any Asian tours at the moment. I know she's going to have something, I think, in Melbourne or in Brisbane sometime this year. So that would be great. So if there are any Tina Arena fans out there, I'm one of them. I would love to meet you. I'd probably faint on the spot if I get to meet Tina right there and then, and I'd either faint or I'd probably be a blubbering mess and I'll just be crying and it's like, Tina, I love you, and you don't know what your music has done for me. It's like
Well, I have to say, Kaz, you've got very good taste. And that Tina Arena, she's a national treasure, really, here in Australia. She has like this amazing set of lungs.
oh
She's
yeah,
got the biggest vocal
definitely.
capacity for such a tiny person. She's actually quite small.
Yeah,
We had the privilege of seeing her in Evita, where she
yeah.
played Evita on stage.
Yeah, she did get to play Vita.
And
Yeah.
she was phenomenal because she was in every single scene,
Right.
belting her lungs out. I'm like, I felt exhausted at the end of it. I don't know how she does it. And doing that every night and with a
Yeah,
magic.
right, every night. And I'm sure after one show like that, it's like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Do not talk to me. I'm going to be like Celine Dion, holding up a whiteboard marker, and everything that you need to tell me should be written there, and I will just correspond with you through that. That's what she does. That's what Celine Dion does at the day that she has a show. She will not talk to anybody. And that speaks so much about her discipline. Yeah. Oh, which also reminds me of what I was going to ask you. How do you take care of your voice? Or do you have any tips for people who want to take care of their voice? Because we need to.
Yeah, I've actually had some real scares with my voice. At one point I thought, oh my God, am I losing my voice? And as a singer, that would be like the ultimate kind of loss, right? It's like an athlete not being able to run anymore or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think good vocal, they call it good vocal hygiene, making
Mhm.
sure you warm up properly before you sing. Don't just kind of go from a walk to a sprint, really quickly. Because your vocal cords are muscles, so you have to kind of look after them like muscles. Try to sing every day, even if it's just a little bit every day. So you keep your vocal cords quite trained.
Mhm.
Uh, there are people who talk about avoiding certain foods. I haven't gone to
Yeah,
that extreme.
I was gonna get to that. Like, the people say, no, no to ice cream because you can't be doing that, when you're singing.
Yeah, I think it depends on every person. It's whatever works for you. Like if you notice after eating a particular kind of food, it just wreaks havoc on your vocal cords, and try to avoid that. So
Right, right.
yeah, I haven't really had any major issues that way, luckily. But yeah, I think it's just practicing good vocal hygiene, and don't abuse your voice as well.
Right,
So
right.
if you notice that it's getting tired, make sure you rest.
You
Yeah.
hydrate and you drink a lot of water, right?
A lot of water, and water is the best, like
Yeah.
not coffee or alcohol, water.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's great. But if you can have a side of kimchi as well, then that'll be great.
Well, some people say spicy food's the worst for vocal cords, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, I guess it depends
true,
on the
true.
person.
That's right. That's right. Do you have any particular time of the day where you prefer to sing? Some people feel that they cannot sing in the morning and that they'd rather sing at night, or other people feel that you know what, any time of the day, just give me a shot of caffeine and I'm good to go.
Yeah, I think first thing in the morning is the hardest, because basically you've just woken up and your vocal cords aren't quite awake yet. So I
Mhm.
think first thing in the morning is the hardest. I'm probably better like later in the day after I've been kind of speaking um, most of the day, and the vocal cords are a little bit more warmed up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. On the subject of firsts, would you remember the very first song that you sang in front of an audience?
Like in terms of officially, because I was always singing even as a child. I was the type to hair.
Yeah, I guess officially, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess graduating from being a 3-year-old standing on the coffee table with a hairbrush as a microphone. I actually can't remember that. Maybe it was, yeah. Like, I don't know. I think in San Francisco when we had a band, we used to sing. So I guess maybe that's kind of the more official capacity where I started singing more. Performing in public. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I sang in choirs before that, like in
Ah,
school,
yeah.
in church. But we that's with a group of people. But I think singing on your own for the first time, it can be a bit daunting if you're not used to it. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. With regards to singing in a choir, how challenging was that to maintain the, the section of voices that you're supposed to be when you're assigned to it? Like sometimes it can be distracting. It's like, okay, this is the key that I'm supposed to be in, but because this person beside you is singing in a different key, you get to follow their key and not yours.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think harmonies is one of the hardest things. Like,
Yeah,
I had to do some of my own harmonies on the album. And at least, if you're not singing live, then it's fine. But once you're live, yeah, it takes a lot of practice and discipline to kind of tune out the other voice and not
right,
kind
right.
of get lost. Yeah. Yeah.
Or make things easier on you. Record the harmony, the backup vocals recorded, and just play that along with you singing live. So at least you still get a choir behind you, even if it's just you on a stage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, that's true. It's good.
Yeah, yeah. Um, the one thing good about being an artist that you basically get to do what you love. Decide how let's say an album is going to look, and how you share it out into the universe in the hope that it will resonate with people regardless of where they are in the world. And have you encountered someone who tried to, let's say, categorize your music and still find it hard to, like, I can't kind of like pin you down the specific genre. Like you can be country, but you can also be acoustic. You can also be pop folk. Where do you think your music fits in?
Yeah, I know. I always struggle with that because when people find out, oh, you write music or you're a singer, a songwriter, you're a musician. The first question is always, what kind of music do you do? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just kind of get stumped. Like I don't know how to describe it. I guess yeah, it's a little bit of all of those things you described. I guess it's kind of more folk pop or
Mm-hmm.
indie folk pop. I think the one constant in all of the songs is an acoustic guitar in all of them.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of, I guess it's because of my influences. I've listened to so many different styles and genres in my entire life, so they all end up coming out of my music in some way, shape, or
Yeah,
form.
yeah, yeah. Right.
So, yeah, so I guess it's indie folk pop with a little bit of jazz, a little bit of rock in there maybe, and even a little bit of electronica because I kind of like that kind of music as well. So hopefully there's something in there for everybody.
Right, right. And just because you like one genre doesn't mean that you can't like another. So,
That's
it's a
right.
free world. You can listen to so many different things and be influenced by so much. I don't know if you listen to this other artist that your slower and more introspective songs remind me of. This would be Corinne May.
No, okay. No,
She's
I,
she's Singaporean,
okay.
and yeah, try and look her up. Very, very, very introspective music, just the piano and the voice, and that basically is a sampling of what someone gets to do if they're serious and true to their craft. That they kind of like draw you in. So when you do perform live, I was wondering, do you feel that it's a bigger feather in your cap to get people up and down and partying, or you get to ask your listener to sit down for a bit and be introspective and allow the music to draw themselves in? Which do you think is a bigger feather in your cap if you're able to do either of those two?
Oh, I mean, I'd love to do both. It really depends on the song. I don't have very many songs where people would get up and dance, maybe, or maybe, I don't know, it depends.
Maybe the next album.
Yeah, maybe. I think maybe the latter of what you described. I think when you have that real connection with people, where they just go really quiet and you can see that they're really listening intently to the song and listening really intently to the lyrics. I think that's when you feel like you've made a real connection with people. Again, as I said earlier, that's when you feel it's a real gift, and you kind of you've shared in a very kind of intimate moment with these people, even if you don't know them very well.
Is it equally both a temptation and a challenge to simply mine your own experiences and put that into a song, or it's also okay to use other people's experiences?
Really, I think it's like being a journalist, right? Sometimes it's like you're writing about people around you. You're observing things. I think as a singer-songwriter or a songwriter, even, I mean, what you're actually doing is storytelling. You're telling a story. Like nearly every single song has a story, and people like hearing stories, and people like stories that they can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like a lot of the songs are, like I said, amalgamation of my own experiences with other people's experiences, or things I've read. Maybe a movie I've seen, or an article I read about. I think you just kind of draw from all those different sources of inspiration, and hopefully you can come up with something unique. A unique perspective on all of those things. Like I'm a big fan of. I love songs about loss or heartbreak, but who wants to hear another breakup song written in the same way as other? Yeah, so you want to kind of find a different spin on it, a different angle. Yeah.
It can be a breakup song, but if you can throw a little bit of revenge there, then that'll be great too.
That'll be in the next album. Maybe I'll call it Revenge.
Yeah, throw a little bit of clues in there. Where to hide the dagger, or look for the smoking gun. Yeah. Sorry, we're not suggesting anything for listeners to do, but this is just how things are. on how to get to do that. And I'm sure you feel equally that sometimes it's the painful experiences that brings out the best in you. It's either you will let yourself wallow into that experience, or try to rise above it. And when you do rise above that experience, you suddenly feel like, wow, I have something to say, or like, wow, I didn't think that I could uh, deal with something like that, but here I am. I'm
Mm,
ready to take on the world again.
absolutely. I think that's kind of the falling deep into the sea. That's what came out of it. I think if you're talking about revenge, it's like, what's the best revenge? Is writing a song about what happened, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like the
Or
Alanis
living your life.
Morissette. Yeah. So I think, yeah, when you go through a difficulty in life, that leads to growth. You can't avoid difficult situations in life. Without them, you don't grow and you don't stretch yourself. So I think as a songwriter, you channel those emotions. I remember hearing an interview with Stevie Nicks where she said, "Oh, I'm an emotional songwriter.
Mhm,
Like every time she feels something, she writes. And I feel like kind of maybe that way. I'm not really technical. You know,
mhm.
my guitar playing, everything about my music is I'm self-taught. I didn't go to music school or, I don't even know music theory if you ask me. So, um,
I'm just gonna ask you about that because you do have a guitar behind you.
yeah, I do play guitar, but that's mostly to write music, to write songs. 'Cause, that's how you kind of bring, the rest of the band on board with how you want to write the song, how you want to play the song. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I guess that, yeah, I'm more of an emotional songwriter than a technical songwriter.
Oh, I just remembered a question that I asked also another songwriter. Um, do you feel that if you do not play a musical instrument and say that you are a songwriter, you're like you're like half and half because you don't play a musical instrument? Like you're not a complete songwriter until you know how to play an instrument. Do you agree with that viewpoint?
That's an interesting viewpoint. I've never thought of it that way. I think playing an instrument helps, even if you don't play it very well,
Mm-hmm.
because, because songs have structure and you need chords and all of that. But you can still call yourself a songwriter and not play an instrument, and that's the beauty of collaborating with other musicians.
Mm-hmm.
When you can bring some of your own song ideas to the table, and then the other musicians then work with you to bring that vision to life. So
Right.
I think you can definitely still call
Yeah.
yourself a songwriter even if you don't play an
Even if
instrument.
you don't play. And the one thing good about collaboration is also you can just sit down. This is my music. Okay, you guys go have fun and play it. And while I sit back and enjoy myself with a mug of ice cream,
Yeah,
chocolate mint,
yeah,
to be more specific, and you go tackle my music the way that you want to, and show it to me at the end of the day, and let's see if we have a finished product by then. Yeah. Um, for those who are, as I said, wanting to look into this aspect of their lives musically and want to go into this business, any advice that you can give them if they want to try music out for them this year?
sure. I mean, or this year or any year. I think my first advice is don't, if music is something you're really passionate about and you want to make music, like don't put off your dreams. And I think it was being in the pandemic, being in lockdown last year that just convinced me that life is too short and I couldn't put off this dream of mine anymore. And I was really keen to get the album out before the year finished. I don't know why. I was just suddenly in a real hurry, like
Right.
because time and life is just precious. So don't put off your dreams. I think my other bit of advice is, kind of what we were talking about earlier, Kaz,
Mm-hmm.
really open to different types of music. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even if you consider yourself like writing folk music, listen to hip hop or rock or country, and be really open to different genres because
Mm-hmm.
that's how you grow and that's how you increase your musical vocabulary, so to speak. And then the third bit of advice is, have fun with it. The beauty of writing music, making music, is that it's your world and you're the one in control. No one's telling you what's right or what's wrong. Whatever sounds good to you, whatever works for you, you're the artist, and just honor that process. And that's like the most fun part of it. Just when you're starting to write a song and then you can hear something forming, and I just sort of waiting to see where it leads you. I think that's really exciting. So be open to the creative process, and don't be too hard on yourself either, because sometimes you might end up writing 20 really crappy songs before you write one good song. It's all part of the process.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes people forget that it is part of the process, that you gotta write something bad in order to get to the good parts.
Right.
So yeah, I totally agree with you. And sometimes, and this also happens for me, it's like there will be a melody that's playing in my head while I'm driving,
Yes.
and I can't do that because I'm driving.
Yes.
So and one thing good about being a songwriter in this day and age is that, let's say, we all have our own cell phones. So if you can just pull over on the side, record that bit on the phone, and just get back to it a later part of the day when you can. But there's also the downside to it, in the sense that you consciously stop the momentum that you're in, and then it's so hard to get it back on again when you get back to it. And you may complete the song later in the day, but definitely the feeling would have changed. And I'm sure you've experienced something like that as well.
Yeah, like my voice memos in my phone is full of bits and pieces. And nearly all the time I've gone back to them. If I'm playing my guitar and I think, oh, that kind of reminds me of a melody that I sort of wrote in my head, 2 months ago. Grab my phone and see if it's still there. And one of the songs on the album, that's exactly how it was born. It's the song called Full Moon, which is kind of a little bit more jazzy, kind of different from my other songs. And that's exactly what happened. I was driving in San Francisco, and then I looked up and I saw the moon, and it looked like this giant kind of golden ball, and the line "Marshmallow Moon" just came to my head. It said, "Marshmallow Moon, stop looking at me like that," because it was so big in front of me. And then I remember I had to rush home quickly or to where I was going. And this is before iPhones. And I had to grab my, I was a journalist then, and I had my little tape recorder. And so I had to, sing the melody right there before I forgot it, because we tend to forget things. And then that's how that song started. And then at that time, I was writing songs with my friend and collaborator, Mike. And I played him a bit of that song. And so he kind of, took it further and kind of built up the chord progressions for that song. So, there's musical inspiration everywhere. You just have to be open and listening all the time.
That's right. It's both a discipline and also a craft.
Yes.
To open yourself up to things and to people. And that's the thing about inspiration. You never know when it's going to hit you. But when it does, you need to listen to it, or else you kill the vibe, you kill the momentum, and no matter what you do, it's hard to bring it back. And even if you are able to bring it back, it will never be the first time when it first hit you.
Yeah, it might sound a little bit different, but maybe it was meant to take on a different direction. You just don't know. Yeah.
Could be. So in short, we go back to that. Be kind to yourself, and if it changes, then it's it's still not bad. It's just different. But at least you're able to have a finished product at the end of the day. Yeah. Right. So at the end of the day, where can our listeners follow and see more of you on social media?
Well, thank you. Well, first thing, if you're on Spotify, you can just search for my name. So that's Salli, Salli Edwards. And my album is on there. It's called Revolving Doors.
Which is what I'm playing at the background right now.
To that now. And, the 2 singles from that are Traces and Falling Deep into the Sea. Hopefully you'll find something you like in there. I also have my website, which is just Salli Edwards, my name, Salli Edwards.com. And you'll see the lyrics on there, like I said earlier. And I also have my Instagram, but there isn't much on there at the moment.
Oh,
So really,
it's actually on the on our YouTube channel. So I pasted the details there as well, so people
yes,
can just click and
great.
and can
Yeah,
follow you as well
sorry. Yeah, also on YouTube.
on Instagram. All right, thank you so much, Sally, for being here with us today. First guest of the new year. So woohoo!
Thanks so much for having me, Kaz. Thanks to you and Neil. And it's been an absolute pleasure just chatting to you about music. Thank you so much. It's been a real honor to be here today.
Most welcome, most welcome. Oh, we got some people joining in just now. Either that or the system's really slow. AJ Godoy Santiago is one of our listeners from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So yeah, we'd
Hello.
like to say hi.
Hi.
And so Juan Miguel Gamocha, he's also joining us as well. He's
Fantastic.
also tuning in most of the day.
Great.
So yeah. Thank you so much again, Sally. The website is salliedwards.com. Revolving Door is the name of the album, and that is something that you can listen to on Spotify. And you can also hear the songs individually if you prefer on your YouTube channel, of which we also have put up the link on the show notes. All right. So, any final words of encouragement, Sally, before we end this episode?
Oh, just keep the music alive, Kaz. Yeah, your radio station is doing great stuff in the Philippines, and music is always that bright spot, during these dark times. So yeah, keep it up.
Yeah,
Again,
we,
thanks for having me.
we will do that. And if in case by any, if circumstances permits and we're able to travel, I might, if ever I do get to Australia, to Melbourne, yeah, I'd say hi and and go see you. And if not, go see you performing one of your gigs. That's assuming when the gigs are back on, and the pandemic is out of the equation. But till then, we just got to make do with what we can, and that's just really allowing technology to work for us and continue to churn out content after content. All right. Thank you, Sally. Enjoy the rest of your day. I don't want to be taking too much of your time anymore, but nonetheless, you guys can also join us here again on the Spot 947. My name is Cass. Till the next edition, we will be on the lookout for the next artist that we shall be putting on the spot. So keep it right here on All Hits. Mellow 94.7 sounds good. Bye, everybody.
Bye.